if cos theta is equal to 1 over 2, find the values of theta for 0 is less than theta and theta is less than 360. So what we are asked to find here is all the possible values of theta for which 0 is less than theta, which means theta is greater than 0, and theta is less than 360, which means 360 is greater than theta. Cos theta is 1 over 2, which means cos theta is 0.5. Therefore, if cos theta is 0.5, what is the value of theta? Theta will now be cos inverse 0.5. That makes theta to be equal to 60 degrees. Because cos theta is 1 over 2, which means cos theta is a positive value. So what are the other values of theta? Now we'll look at our Cartesian plane. And from our Cartesian plane, the first quadrant, all is positive. The second quadrant, only sine is positive. The third quadrant, tan is positive. And the fourth quadrant, cos is positive. This means for our values of theta to be 0.5, which is a positive value, it lies in the first quadrant and the fourth quadrant. 60 degrees is on the first quadrant. Now let's find our value of theta on the fourth quadrant. Now we are told that theta is less than 360. Therefore, we say 360 degrees minus 60 degrees. Then our theta will now give us 300 degrees. Hence, our value for theta is equal to 60 degrees or 300 degrees. For theta is less than 360 degrees. Cosec theta is equal to negative 5 over 3. Now, what is cosec theta? Cosec theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. Now, let's make sine theta subject formula. By cross multiplying, we'll have sine theta to be equal to 1 over cosec theta. And we are told that cosec theta is negative 5 over 3. Therefore, sine theta will now be 1 over negative 5 over 3. That makes sine theta to be equal to negative 3 over 5. Therefore, sine theta will now be equal to negative 0.6. Now, the value of theta will now be sine inverse 0.6. That means our theta to be equal to, if theta is equal to 36.87, but what we are asked to find is cosec theta, which is a negative value, which means we are expecting a negative value for what? For sine theta. Therefore, looking at our Cartesian plane, the first quadrant, all is positive. The second quadrant, only sine is positive. The third quadrant, only tan is positive. And the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. Now, we'll be looking for the value of theta for which sine theta is negative. And in the first and second quadrant, sine theta is positive. Therefore, we'll be looking at the third and the fourth quadrant for us to get a negative value of sine theta. So for sine theta to be in the third quadrant here, we simply say theta is equal to 180 degree plus 36.87. So that we'll have our value for theta to be on the third quadrant. That makes theta to be equal to 216.87 degrees. Because sine 216.87 degree will give us a negative value. Now, this is for the third quadrant. Now let's look for the value of theta on the fourth quadrant. And on the fourth quadrant, we are told that theta is less than 360. So we'll say theta on the fourth quadrant is equal to 360 degrees minus 36.87. That makes theta to be equal to 232.13 degrees. Therefore, our values of theta for us to have a negative value, which is negative 5/3, is equal to 216.87, which lies on the third quadrant, or 232.13, which lies on the fourth quadrant. Find theta for 0 degrees less than theta, and theta is less than 360 degrees. We are told that tan theta is equal to 1, and the value of theta will now be tan inverse 1, and theta will now be 45 degrees. Now find theta for 0 degrees less than theta, and theta is less than 360 degrees. Now, which means our tan theta is 1, which means our tan theta is a positive value. So, and here tan theta is 45 degrees. So let's check from our Cartesian plane. In the first quadrant, all is positive. Second quadrant, only sine is positive. Third quadrant, only tan is positive. And the fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive. Now, which means on the first quadrant, we have our tan theta to be positive. So here, tan theta here is 45 degrees, which satisfies for the first quadrant. Now, also, where do we get tan theta to also be positive also is on the third quadrant. So we look for our value of theta on the third quadrant. Now, to get the value of theta on the third quadrant, we simply say 180 degree plus 45 degrees, which is equal to our theta. Now, our theta will now be 225 degrees. Therefore, our values of theta for tan theta to be equal to 1 are 45 degrees or 225 degrees.